What if there was an ancient book so controversial that most Bibles no longer include it? A book that claims to reveal what happens after death. A book that describes heaven, judgment, angels, and mysterious realms beyond human understanding. A book quoted by early Christians, yet rejected by many religious authorities. But what secrets did it contain? And could this forgotten text preserve one of humanity's oldest visions of the afterlife? Tonight, we investigate one of history's most mysterious writings. Before we dive into the main story, please kindly follow our page, like, comment and share. Also subscribe to our channel for more interesting video like this. The Book of Enoch. Imagine living in a world before kings, before empires, before written history as we know it. In the ancient traditions of the Hebrew Bible appears a mysterious figure named Enoch. Unlike most people described in Scripture, Enoch's story is remarkably brief. Yet that brief mention has fascinated readers for thousands of years. According to the biblical account, Enoch walked with God. Then something extraordinary happened. He did not die in the ordinary way. Instead, God took him. No detailed explanation, no lengthy narrative, just a mystery that inspired centuries of speculation. Who was Enoch? What happened to him? And what did he supposedly see? Centuries after Enoch's name first appeared in ancient tradition, writings began circulating that claimed to reveal his hidden visions. These texts became known collectively as the Book of Enoch. The book describes journeys through heaven, encounters with angels, visions of judgment, and revelations about humanity's ultimate destiny. To ancient readers, these were not merely stories. They were cosmic mysteries, a glimpse beyond the veil separating the living from the dead. And that is precisely why the text became so influential. One reason the Book of Enoch attracted attention is its dramatic description of heavenly beings. The text expands upon brief biblical references and presents an elaborate story involving angels known as the Watchers. According to the narrative, certain Watchers descended to earth. What followed became one of the most controversial sections of the book. The Watchers are portrayed as violating divine boundaries and introducing forbidden knowledge to humanity. This story would influence later religious traditions for centuries. Yet it also contributed to controversies surrounding the book itself, because many readers debated whether these accounts should be understood literally, symbolically, or mythologically. Then we arrive at the question that continues to fascinate readers today. What happens after death? The Book of Enoch presents a vision unlike many ancient texts. It describes divisions among the dead, places of waiting, judgment, reward, and punishment. The dead are not portrayed as disappearing into nothingness. Instead, they await a future reckoning. For ancient audiences, these ideas were profound. They offered explanations for justice, suffering, and the fate of the human soul. And they helped shape later discussions about heaven, hell, and the afterlife. Many people are surprised to learn that the Book of Enoch was highly respected in some early Jewish and Christian communities. Its influence can be seen in later religious literature and traditions. Even readers who do not consider it scripture often acknowledge its historical significance. Here is where the mystery deepens. If the Book of Enoch was so influential, why is it absent from most modern biblical canons? Different religious traditions reach different conclusions. Some communities preserved it, others did not. Questions about authorship, authority, and theology fueled centuries of debate. The controversy continues today, and that controversy may be one reason the book remains so fascinating. But the greatest mystery was still ahead, because according to the Book of Enoch, the afterlife was only part of the story. Enoch claimed to witness heavenly realms, cosmic secrets, and future judgment on a scale beyond imagination. Were these visions symbolic? Ancient theology? Religious imagination? Or something more? What if someone claimed to have seen what lies beyond death? Not through philosophy, not through speculation, but through a journey into heaven itself. According to the Book of Enoch, one man was shown secrets hidden from the rest of humanity. Secrets about angels, secrets about judgment, and secrets about what awaits the dead. Whether viewed as sacred revelation, ancient literature, or symbolic vision, the story remains one of the most fascinating accounts ever written. Tonight, we continue Enoch's journey and step into the mysterious realms he claimed to have witnessed. According to the Book of Enoch, the story begins with an invitation unlike any other. Enoch is summoned by heavenly beings. He is not portrayed as seeking heaven. Rather, heaven calls him. The text describes angelic messengers approaching Enoch and instructing him to leave behind ordinary concerns. A greater mission awaits. A mission that will take him beyond the world known to humanity. For ancient readers, this was astonishing. Enoch was not simply receiving knowledge. He was becoming a witness to cosmic mysteries hidden from ordinary eyes. As Enoch's journey begins, the world around him changes. The text describes immense heavenly structures, vast gates, brilliant light, realms beyond human imagination. The language is symbolic and poetic. Fire appears repeatedly, not merely as destruction, but as power, purity, divine presence. The descriptions are intended to convey awe, the sense that Enoch has entered a realm fundamentally different from Earth, a place where ordinary rules no longer apply. One of the most dramatic moments in the Book of Enoch is his approach toward the heavenly throne. The imagery becomes increasingly majestic. Crystal-like structures, brilliant light, fire surrounding a throne of immense authority. For the writers and readers of the ancient world, the throne symbolized ultimate justice, ultimate power, ultimate sovereignty. The message was clear. The universe was not random. Behind everything stood a higher authority, a judge beyond human corruption, a ruler beyond earthly kingdoms. Then the journey takes an unexpected turn. The Book of Enoch is not only interested in heaven, it also explores the structure of creation itself. Enoch is shown the movements of heavenly bodies, the ordering of seasons, the paths of stars, the cycles of nature. To modern readers, some descriptions may appear symbolic or reflective of ancient understandings of the cosmos. But to ancient audiences, these visions communicated something profound. The universe operates according to order. Nothing exists by accident. Everything has a place. Everything follows a design. Then Enoch encounters one of the most mysterious subjects in the entire book: the Watchers. According to the narrative, these angels abandoned their proper role and interfered with humanity. The consequences, the text claims, were catastrophic. The Watchers become symbols of rebellion, of crossing forbidden boundaries, of knowledge used irresponsibly. This section would influence later religious traditions and remains one of the most debated aspects of the Book of Enoch. One reason the Book of Enoch fascinated ancient readers was that it attempted to answer questions most people feared to ask. What lies beyond the visible world? What governs the universe? And is there justice beyond death? But heaven was only part of the journey, because Enoch's most famous visions were not about angels. They were about humanity, about death, about judgment, and about what happens after life ends. Every civilization has wrestled with the same mystery. What happens when we die? Ancient Egypt offered one answer. Ancient Greece offered another. Mesopotamia had its own traditions. The Book of Enoch presents yet another vision. A vision that would influence later religious thinking for centuries. The text does not describe death as the end. Instead, it presents death as a transition, a movement from one state of existence to another. One of Enoch's most intriguing descriptions involves what might be called a place of waiting. The text portrays different conditions awaiting different souls. Not final judgment, not the end of history, but an intermediate state, a place where the dead await what is yet to come. This concept would later appear in various forms throughout religious thought, and it remains one of the most discussed sections of the book. Ancient people often faced a troubling question. What happens when evil seems to win? What happens when injustice goes unpunished? The Book of Enoch addresses this concern directly. It presents a vision in which ultimate justice does not always occur during earthly life. Instead, judgment belongs to a future reckoning, a future moment when hidden actions are revealed, when wrongs are addressed, when truth is known. For many readers, this idea provided hope. The belief that justice extends beyond human courts and human lifetimes. The Book of Enoch repeatedly returns to a central theme: judgment. Not merely individual judgment, but cosmic judgment, a future event affecting humanity as a whole. The text describes a time when corruption, violence, and wrongdoing face accountability. The imagery is dramatic: mountains trembling, powers shaken, the world transformed. Whether understood literally or symbolically, the message remains powerful. Actions matter. Choices matter. History has meaning. The book also presents a moral framework. Human behavior carries consequences. Righteousness and injustice are not portrayed as equal paths. The text envisions outcomes tied to how people live. For ancient audiences, this reinforced ethical responsibility. Life was not merely about survival. It was about character, about choices, about accountability. The importance of these ideas extended far beyond Enoch's time. Questions about death and judgment would influence generations of thinkers, religious communities, philosophers, writers, believers and skeptics alike. The Book of Enoch became part of a much larger conversation, a conversation humanity continues today, because the question remains unchanged: what happens after death? And here we encounter one of the greatest controversies surrounding the Book of Enoch. Some readers viewed these visions as profound revelations. Others viewed them as symbolic religious literature. Still others questioned their authority entirely. The debate has continued for centuries. Not because the book is forgotten, but because it continues to provoke questions. Questions that remain deeply human. Yet the most controversial sections of the Book of Enoch are still ahead. Because the text doesn't simply discuss heaven and judgment. It tells a dramatic story about fallen angels, forbidden knowledge, ancient corruption, and events that allegedly changed the course of human history. These passages would become some of the most influential and disputed in all of ancient literature. Imagine discovering a manuscript that claimed to explain why evil exists, why suffering exists, and why humanity's history unfolded the way it did. That is exactly what the next section of the Book of Enoch attempts to do. But its explanation would become one of the most controversial ideas ever written. In Part 2, we explore the Watchers, the fallen angels, and the mysterious story that has fascinated readers for more than 2,000 years. And we'll ask a question that still divides scholars, historians, and religious readers today. Why was this story preserved for centuries? And why did it become so controversial? Comment below. Do you think ancient visionary texts should be read as history, symbolism, theology, or something else entirely? And what part of Enoch's journey do you find most fascinating? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to kindly subscribe to my channel, follow our page, like, comment and share for more interesting historic fact videos.